Okay, so real life independent challenge. This is part 3. It says you can apply the critical thinking techniques you learned in this part to develop your leadership skills. Develop your self-awareness by completing the following exercise. A, create a timeline of your life history. How we gonna do that?
Excel, Word.
Excel, Word, yes. Okay. Are y'all gonna write it out and do like a pictogram?
No, we can't.
No, don't do that.
PowerPoint.
You can do PowerPoint. PowerPoint does timelines for you, yes. But make sure you have a timeline. Now, what are some of the major events of your life?
The day you was born.
Okay, because you remember that. Okay, what? What else?
The day you graduate.
Day you graduated. Is there not some other stuff that happens before you were born and you graduate?
Oh.
Tennis.
Yes.
How about
Tennis
Christmas
for
with
me.
family?
Tennis, yes, like a sport is a great one. What else?
This is every year. Would that count?
No.
But like, wasn't there like a specific like Christmas?
Yeah, like
year
a like
where,
something.
you and family, you know.
Yes,
That happened drastically.
something that happened that kind of changed you a little bit, either for the better, or maybe it made you a little bit more cautious or a little bit more reserved. Okay.
Yes, I had a sad event in my life.
Yes, sad events can count. Okay, because it may change the way you view things.
This changed me.
Yes.
My life, my personality.
Yeah.
Boom.
What more is more strong woman.
Yes, some things can strengthen you, especially sad events. I know for sure I had some sad events and they definitely strengthened me, okay? Now, B, identify your role models. Are these people in your current or past life? And what did you learn from them? So, role models, you can name LeBron or Michael Jordan if that's who you want. But you can also name people that maybe they're your parent or your cousin or your aunt or your mom or your dad, okay? It could even be a mentor or someone that you just look up to. It could be someone that got you through a hard time, all right?
What did you have mentor or you find what is your way, the best way for solution your problem? I remember when I was sad, God helped me.
Okay, and so it should be a role model. So that's more of a spiritual belief. So we can look at some of the teachings and the works of our faith, but we're going to try to put this more towards maybe, yeah, like a person. And of course we could be like, Jesus is the season, but we want to kind of make it a little bit more, and it could even be like whatever you believe in, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many different, faiths. So whether you're Mormon, whether you're Christian, whether you are Catholic, whether you are
Any religion.
anything, right? But we're going to make it more about maybe people that you've met or people that you've seen and that have influenced you. So your role model, are they current or past? And what did you learn from them? Okay. We're also going to describe, so C, you're going to describe your strengths and your weaknesses. That means everyone should have a self-assessment where they see, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this. We just had a conversation yesterday about my weakness, my patience. Because I'll say, hey, think about it. And then 30 minutes later, I'm like, did you think about it? Do you have the answer yet? And I'm challenged with that because I'm like, I could have sworn that I just waited a whole day and it's only been an hour, and I'm like, where is my response? Anybody else like that? Yeah? I can't wait. And so I'm working on that because that is something that is very important, right? Okay, so patience is a virtue. But what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Some people are really good at computer items, right? More administrative duties. And then some people are like, just put me in front of people so I can talk. Okay, who are you? That's what you're gonna be looking at. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? All right. And because I'm doing my YouTube, do you mind not typing? Because it's gonna be on there.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So describe that's gonna be in there too.
Okay.
Nope.
No edits.
Nope. We're raw and uncensored. Okay. That's what we're going for. Live at 5. All right. We just don't. This is not enough time in the day for me to be doing edits now. Now all of a sudden I need a whole nother hat on for editor.
Submit.
Okay, so D, describe the way you typically solve problems. This is interesting because in the text, it's going to talk about different type of ways you can solve problems. And some of these talk about fallacies. It talks about critical thinking. Some people are just more analytical. You look at everything, you analyze it down to the T, and you're like, that person didn't speak to me today. I bet you it's from 3 weeks ago when I ate their food out the refrigerator at the office. You're like, wait a second, you ate their food out? Don't worry about that, but now they're upset with me, right? So you got to think about it. Who are you and how do you solve problems? Are you the person that goes and talks to everybody else instead of the person that you have a problem with? Are you the person that says, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to them and I'm going to tell them how I feel, right? Or are you the person that's like, I'm just going to avoid them at all costs? Or you have a challenge, you have a paper due, but you also have something else, and you just say, you know what, I'm just going to forget about it and hopefully it goes away. Who are you? Okay, how do you solve problems? E says, identify at least 3 of your core values. What are core values? What are core values?
Yes, what is the nuclear, the problem?
But what are your core values? So nuclear problems are going to be like things that you get to the bottom of whatever that problem is. But your core values is, what do you believe in? What do you believe in? And what are your core values? I believe that everybody should be treated with fairness. So no matter if you are the CEO or whether you're the janitor, the custodian, everyone should be treated the same. My mom is a housekeeper, right? And I don't want someone to talk down to her. I believe that everybody should have dignity and respect. That's one of my core values, right? And I have others. But what are your top 3 core values that you are like, I stand on this and no one's going to tell me different? Okay? And you can look up different core values. I mean, if you like, I need some, some motivation or some ideas.
What is your more, is your more important in your life, your values is you can be good person or you can be bad person, or you take the good or bad deeds.
Yes.
This is exercise. I remember me when I did SWOT matrix. Is it true? Is it true?
Like a SWOT analysis is what you're
Yeah.
saying? Yeah?
SWOT.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
Exactly.
Yes. So one thing I'll say is that when you're looking at your core values, you're looking at what is something that I know for sure that this is who I am, and I need to be around people that also believe the same things or similar things, right? That's your core value. And that could be anything. It could be anything. And you could be like, oh, my core value is that, I believe in, and I'm not even gonna say it but it could be anything, right? And then that's something that you're like, this is my underlying thoughts. And it could be based on maybe the way that you were raised. Okay? Okay. All right. How does that help? How does that shape the decisions you make? Now, the next one says, describe your approach to persuading others or allowing yourself to be persuaded. What types of arguments work best with you? All right, so describe your approach to persuading others. How do you persuade others, right? And then how do you allow yourself to be persuaded? Do you ever go into a store and you're like, let's see if they can get me to buy something? Or do you go in there and you're like, I already know what I want, and then all of a sudden you leave out with something totally different? And you're like, I did not come to get upgraded, but I couldn't get that phone when they told me that it wasn't going to have enough memory space. I had to get the 32 gigs or 16 gigs or whatever it is, right? Or I thought I was going to come in here and get an iPhone, whatever, or a Galaxy, and then instead I walked out with something else. Anyone have that happen? And then you got accessories as well. What allows you to be persuaded? For me, it has to be a benefit. If you can tell me why it's going to benefit me, and you do it in a good way where I understand, then I'll buy it. Okay? All right. Now, what types of arguments work best with you? Now, you're looking at arguments, you're trying to figure out, well, I don't know which arguments will work with me. You can go back into your book and then say, okay, let me look at what are some of the different ways. This text talks about fallacies. And the great thing about that is that you're looking at what are some of the different ways. This one talks about deductive reasoning. So it says avoid the slippery slope. It's one, if one event happens, another serious or drastic event will inevitably follow. So this is like those people that when something bad happens, they say, oh, it's a sign. It's more stuff is going to happen. This is a sign of the times, right? You have to be careful because it can make you so cautious that you do nothing, even when you're supposed to do something. Be aware of false dilemmas. So it says a false dilemma presents a limited number of options, frequently two choices, though more options are available. Sometimes we think we can either do this or we can't do this and this is it. But sometimes there's way more options. We're just not looking at everything. Okay. It also talks about straightening out circular reasoning. Sometimes we keep going back to the same thing. And then clear up equivocation. Using ambiguous or vague words in an argument is known as equivocation. So this is how you argue. Okay? This is how you argue. So how do you argue a point to get your point across? Do you do any of those things? Now, on here it does talk about exploring weaknesses in the argument. And that's going to be on page 56. Make sure you look at that. And then also on 54, it goes over assessing the credibility of an argument. I am so good at spotting people that aren't necessarily telling the truth or have like some holes in what they're saying. And I'll ask the same question in different ways, at least 3 or 4 ways.
They gonna change things.
They change it up every time, I tell you. Change it up. And the first time they're like, aha, gotcha. Then the second time or the third time, maybe they get a little bit comfortable because they feel like they already got quizzed and they're done. And then they usually give it away. Third or fourth time. And they'll be like, I feel like you already, anyways, I said this. And I'm like, no, you didn't actually. You said something totally opposite. Are you sure? I didn't mean that. And I'm like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Right?
Girl.
Yeah, listen.
Same question in a different way.
Yes. Get you every time, huh?
Nope. I don't be lying.
Oh, well, there you go. Honesty is the best
She be
policy.
lying, then I just be like, bro, I'm not gonna keep answering this. You just asked me the same question, bro.
I do that. I'd be like, are you sure? All right. So now when you're looking at this, it also is going to talk about identifying arguments and understanding what are some of the argument indicators. Sometimes we don't even know we're in an argument and we are. So just be very careful because sometimes people are just trying to get a certain response. This chapter talks about deductive and inductive reasoning, which I think is very, very interesting. Deductive is typically takes an argument from general observations or premises to a specific conclusion. Deductive, that means you're going from big to small. Inductive is basically the opposite, right? So it attempts to draw a broad conclusion from specific examples or premises. So this could be, I have all of these specific challenges, but what does that mean? there could be something that's really the underlying cause, and it's one thing. Okay, so you're going to be looking at this when you're doing your real life independent challenge and mapping it out to find out how do you answer these 6 questions from A all the way to F, and this is on page 71. You guys got it? All right, make sure you have your book.
I just have one question.
Yes.
How does that tie in with the timeline?
So your timeline of your life events, it tells you a lot about how you've been shaped.
Uh-huh.
That's a very, very good question. So if you have a timeline of your life history and the major events in your life, it kind of tells you a little bit about who you end up emulating and who you end up wanting more motivation from. So I grew up with humble beginnings. So I usually was always trying to figure out a way to have a better life. And so because of that, my role models were people that either had a better life or people that motivated me to have a better life, even when I was discouraged. Okay? Your strengths and your weaknesses, that goes into play because it tells you a lot about how you see things, right? So if you are really good at English but not at math, then you're going to steer clear of places and spaces where you have to do a lot of math or projects. And then also you may end up finding yourself, like if you are more of an analytical thinker, then you're going to be with people who give you more information than less. If you are more of a methodical person, you're going to want to be around people who think without so many feelings. You're going to be like, I don't want to talk to that person because they always talk about how they feel. But if you're a feeler, you want to talk to people that can understand you and are like, I understand. That's very frustrating, right? But if you're the person that's like, I don't care about frustration, I just care about getting it done, you're going to want to be around people that are doers. They just get it done. Okay? Also, your life events change because you could have been more of a feeler, but life keeps lifing for you. And then what happens? You then want to change up and say, this isn't working for me anymore. Let me do something different. Has anyone ever had that happen? Like, this, I can't feel anymore right now. I just got to get it done. Okay? And then also with your core values. My core values are based on having humble beginnings. So that meant that because of that, I understand how it feels to have a lot, and I know how it feels to have very little. And so because of that, I have a lot of empathy for people, right? And it does shape your decisions. If you grew up and you didn't have to worry about things, it may shape the way that you see things. Now, the last one, when you're persuading others and allowing yourself to be persuaded, that's the argument, right? That's the argument of our lives. We're always arguing something, a point, a way of thinking, something. And so when we're doing that, we're really looking at how do I allow other people to influence me, and then how do I influence others to have a certain vantage point. And then as far as the types of arguments that work best for you, is really based on how you see the world. And that's your timeline. So if you see the world, you feel like people are just innately good people, everyone wants to do well, everyone wants to see you win, then it may not be that hard for someone to give you an argument of why you should do something, because you might be like, oh, they want the best for me. But if you see the world in a very cynical way, then you might be like, what do they want from me? Why are you trying to help me? What is your reason for this, right? And your life, everyone has a motive, right? Then that means that your life events may have caused you to not trust people. This person left my life. This person left my life. This person let me down. This person was not there for me. This person told me this. What happens? After a while, now all those life events now made you feel the way you feel. And now this is how an argument, when someone is arguing a point to you, why you either believe them or don't. Because they can either remind you of something that triggered you in the past, or they can remind you of something that made you happy.
No, this analysis is very good. We did analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Is that this person plus me, or this person rest me.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. That's part 3.